Okay, so in this video, it's actually about washer sizes and window sizes you're working on. But before I do that, I'm just going to add some soap to this wet washer. I'm going to give you a mindset, the average mindset of the regular window cleaner. So what I hear and see from window cleaners is they never change anything, right? So if they change things, then they're going to probably get different results. But the problem is, window cleaners don't change things, they don't evolve and adapt. But I think they think they're getting quicker, they're getting better at what they're doing. But I don't see that, right? So I'm going to give you a typical mindset of a window cleaner that doesn't want to change anything, but expect better results. Right, so I've got my stopwatch here. I've got this Sorbo tool here. It could be any other brand of squeegee, but I'm going to use this. And I'm going to wash this window first with this 22-inch washer, and then I'm going to squeegee it, and then I've got to make sure that the detailing is done as best as I can in the time that I've got. Right, so let's just soap up this window. So I'm putting the washer in the right place at the right time, not bashing the edges. I don't want to make too much problems on the actual frame here. So I'm going to squeegee it, and then I'm going to do the detailing and measure the time. Now I remember last year and any other year that I used this tool, I worked longer, harder, slower, got less results. But I'm going to use the window cleaner mindset of, well, this year's different because I say it's different, but I'm not going to do anything different into what the tool I'm using and the way that I work. I'm just going to expect different results. I can pretty much guarantee if you don't change the way you do things, you're going to get the same results. And what are the results that I always say window cleaners get when they're using squeegees? Those are the window cleaners that actually use squeegees. The majority of window cleaners that I know living in my local area would never touch a squeegee for the last 5 to 10 years. Right, so let's just put the tool in the right place at the right time. I've set that clock. So the guy who invented this tool says if you use big squeegees, you get to work much quicker. But I don't think that's the case. So bigger doesn't always mean better. Right, it's not done, but I'm going to stop the clock, 24 seconds. Right, so I'm going to use the same size washer. I'm going to soap it up again. I'm going to use a 10-inch liquidator. I'm not going to bash those frames there. Soap that up. Let's see the results. This is a 10-inch liquidator and an accelerator. So put the tool in the right place at the right time. Now I'm not going to work fast. If you want to work fast you can, but you'll make more mistakes if you work fast, especially with a small squeegee. Go too fast, you'll be flicking all the solution everywhere. The idea for me as a window cleaner is to not make mistakes. If I can not make mistakes, I can get to work quicker and better. Right, so the results there are night and day difference. Zero detail, zero mistake. And I got to do it in 2 to 3 seconds quicker. But remember, the first time I did it, the windows weren't finished. I would have had to spend another 10 seconds with my cloth to fix the mistakes, to get close to what this will look like. So tool and technique, and I'm using one of the smaller size squeegees to use. I've just knocked that theory out of bigger is better, out the ballpark. Right, so I want to get these windows done quicker, right? And the majority of window cleaners that I see working locally, let's use a 14-inch, okay? 14-inch squeegee, and most window cleaners that I know use a 14-inch washer, right? Some use 18, but they don't go any bigger than that, right? So I'm just going to put a bit of soap on this wet washer. Now, so I've literally hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of times that I've showed that this tool outclasses any other squeegee. But it has to be in the right hands, pair of hands, to be used properly. I'm going to go over to the other window and I'm going to do another time comparison. So I'm going to use this squeegee. So I'm going to get the windows clean quick with this squeegee. I'm going to use a 14-inch washer. So this knocks the Sorbo and the Wagtail and any other squeegee out the ballpark. It's literally like days, years, millenniums ahead of any other squeegee if used correctly. So I'm going to time now washing and wiping this window. I'm going to use this. Now I did say that bigger is not always better, but in some circumstances it is. So let's start the clock and put the tool in the right place at the right time. I don't want to knock the frames here. So I'm not going to work fast with my squeegee. I'm just going to put it in the right place at the right time. Get those edges and corners done. Now I can just focus on closing out on the bottom. Right, that was 30 seconds on the dot, using tool and technique, washing as well as wiping. So I'm going to use now this size. This is 22 inch. Now I don't know anyone personally, and I know a lot of window cleaners all around the world, and I don't know any of them that actually use a 22 inch. So let's go back over to that window and see if I can get these windows cleaned with the same size squeegee but with a different size washer, if I can get it done in under 30 seconds. Now I'm going to time the washing and the wiping. There's the clock started. I'm not going to bash the edges. I'm going to be, again, careful. I'm not going to work like everybody else, which I advise everybody not to do. So I'm not going to work fast on my squeegee. I don't want to flick all that solution everywhere. I'm going to take those corners out and I want to close out on the bottom. Okay, so I've now got it done. I've knocked off 4 seconds. So really, if I was to do 100 or 200 or 400 windows, and I can knock off 4 to 5 seconds per window by just using a bigger washer but staying with the same size squeegee, the same 14-inch squeegee, you know, I'm going to get the work done quicker, aren't I? And ask yourself this: have you seen this information on YouTube before? No, of course not. So what I'm now going to do is use a washer that I do work on only on certain jobs, right? So I wouldn't recommend using this size squeegee washer. Now I've just slammed the Sorbo squeegee, but this is a Sorbo washer. So I'm not picking on Mr. Sorbo, I'm not picking on his tools. He's just not a very good window cleaner. He doesn't have very good knowledge. He doesn't have very good inventions for someone like me who doesn't want to work like everybody else. Now these tools could be perfect for the local average window cleaner that works longer, harder, slower and gets less results. But I'm here to say, don't think and don't work like everybody else. So let's see what I can do. I've got to try and beat 26 seconds. Now these windows are big, you know, I'll work on much bigger windows than this. I'm going to use the same size squeegee, but I'm going to use a much bigger size washer. And I'm not going to bash those edges again. I'll leave that for people like Darren Green to do. You know, he's got expert squeegee advice. If you don't like my advice, watch someone like him. He's the guy who apparently had the first liquidator in the world, even before I got my hands on one. That's how much of a lying person that guy is. And there's people who actually like his information. Right, so I just got that in 23 seconds. So I've just again stole some time because I'm stealing it. Because if I was to work like anybody else, take anybody else's advice, if I was to take one person's advice on YouTube and add it into my, incorporate it into my work, I'm now going to add time into my work. If I was to take two pieces of information from that same person or from someone else, I'm going to add more time into the way that I work. Because if I was to take everybody's advice, disregarded my own, and added all the people's advice that people have made over the last 15-20 years of how to work with a squeegee, I'll end up working like everybody else. Do you see what I'm saying? Am I being negative? Am I being rude against anyone? I'm just saying how things are. So bigger is not always better, unless you're using the right type of tool. Then size can make a big difference. So I would recommend using a bigger size or use more sizes in your washer. For me, I want all different sizes of squeegees and all different sizes of washers. These are the washers that I use. There's 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 6 different washers in there that I use. Do you remember how many squeegees that I use? On regular residential, I use a 16, or maybe it's a 17 inch, 14, 12, 10, 8 and 6. Just for residential work. I use the right size tool for right size pane of glass. I don't want to work with 1 or 2 size fits all. I can do that, but I'm going to get better, quicker results if I use the right size tool, right type of technique for the windows that I'm working on. For big commercial glass, I use a 22 inch, I use a 16 inch squeegee, and then I use a 6 and an 8 for smaller windows, which are always carried on my work belt. These sizes, the 14, the 10 and the 12, are not always carried on my work belt. But depending on what jobs that I'm doing, will depend on what size washers that I'm going to use as well. So for me, I just want to be quicker and better than I was last week, than I was the year before, and decades before that. I always want to improve and increase my workability, my earnings. My quality will always stay very high standard because I'm using tool and technique. I'm not stopping what I'm doing, fixing mistakes, detailing, and listening to what other window cleaners have to say on YouTube, where they can just say bad things about the liquidator and bad things about the person who talks about the liquidator, but they want to highlight how to work just like them. And how they work is like how everybody else works around the world. All they can show is how to work longer, harder, slower, forever getting less results.